Hello, it's Anna here, and today I am creating a one card and Rolodex or memory Rolodex card using the beach cards from the Simple Scrapbook collection from scrapbook.com. Now these are meant for pocket page scrapbooking, but I decided to use some of these for memory Dex cards and a regular card. So this is the first one I'm using, and I just die cut it using a high swap die so that it fits the Rolodex perfectly. And then I am just die cutting an image out that I want to use as well. I'm sorry for being out of frame, I just didn't realise, but I'm not doing anything fancy, I'm just cutting things apart. So at least I know I want to use the one for the main one for the memory Dex card, and then I want to incorporate that beach read in there somewhere. Not sure how, but I'm just figuring out as I go. So I wanted to ink up the edges of this card, and I'm using a scrapbook.com hybrid ink and a domed foam. Or when I keep all my extra foam in this clear case, which is also from scrapbook.com. And I'm just inking the edges to get a bit of a more, I guess, frame of sort around. But I do love to ink anything that I create. It is such an easy way to add dimension and depth to a simple project. And now that I've inked all of these, I now wanted to make the background a bit more colourful. So I'm choosing a stencil, and I'm using the confetti stencil from scrapbook.com, and I'm using that same ink to add colour to the background. I'm not being too precise or anything. At some points I am applying a bit more pressure and other spots less pressure, just adding a bit of colour, that's it. And then I wanted to add a bit of sparkliness to the card, so I'm using the glitter brush pen, and I'm adding a bit of sparkle to her outfit and the towel on her head, and then I'm adding that to the cocktail glass as well. And since I was already adding sparkliness to her outfit, I decided to add it around those orangey parts of the frame, because, well, there is no such thing as too much sparkliness or glitter, is there? And now I just need some kind of a sentiment for my card, and I'm using two separate dies or die collections from scrapbook.com. One is called Vacation and the other one is called Summer, I believe. I will have links to everything I use down below, so in case I say something with the wrong name, I will have everything correctly listed down below. And I cut 3 of each word from the warm Paperpad collection, and I'm not really trying to do a shadowy effect, but, well, yes and no. I'm just layering these words on each other to create a bit of a colourful, shadowy-ishy kind of a title. I'm not being too precise, I'm just keeping the lightest colour on the top and then going darker below. I will say though, it was easier to stack the short word rather than the summer word, but it looked absolutely fine. But like I say, it's easier to stack the shorter one than the longer one. And I'm sorry I'm out of frame there. I was too involved in figuring out what I was doing. I did notice the camera was not in the best spot, but you will be able to see that when I do the longer word or the summer word. I will make sure that I am in frame for that part. But what this is basically is just stacking these together, offset them a wee bit, and I'm using the tweezers to help me, well, manage things really. And then I'm just using liquid adhesive on each layer, and then I just make sure that these stick well together, and then they are ready to place on my memory card or Rolex card. And I like that the liquid glue gives you a wee bit of a time to figure stuff out. It dries quickly, but not as quick as a regular adhesive would. So now I want to use both fun and summer, but I'm figuring or realizing that this is a bit too much. So I decided to use the summer for the front of my card, and that way I can use the fun and the summer reads image on the back side of my card, because that is a fun thing about memory Rolodex or the spinner itself, is that you can see the front side of your card and the back side. So why not decorate the back side? And yes, I know this is not new science or anything, but I just figured out why not. So here I am realizing something. And then I'm just adding that same ink around the edges on the back side, because then they'll be looking in a similar way. And then I want to use the beach reed, and I'm just using foam tape to get a wee bit of dimension and stick that into place. Just make sure that it is at the right end, because when you flip the card it is actually mirrored. And then I'm adding word fun there as well, because it is fun reading a good book while on the beach. But unfortunately I won't be able to do any beach read fun in Iceland this summer. Well, there usually isn't hot enough for any kind of a beach thingy, but hey, I can dream. And I'm just adding a few colors using the pops of color. I'm using an orangey one and a yellow one, and then I realized I need a bit more color, and I reach for my red pops of color as well. And I realized when I'm opening it that I haven't actually used this color. Shocking, I know. But here is what you do if you have a new one. You just open it up, and then you just pull that little red thingy that's inside of it, throw it away, screw the top back on, and you are good to go. I'm just making sure that everything is all right there, because I haven't used it before. And then just adding those dots, and the card is ready, and it just needs to dry for a few hours so that I don't mess up my dots, which I have done before. Now these papers are these cards from the same collection. I'm using those for another card, and I'm just trimming this down. I'm not measuring as such, just making sure that it fits the front of my A2 card. And I'm just cutting it down to make sure that the image is somewhat centered, and I'm not cutting into any of the leaves or anything like that. And then I'm using a blue ink from scrapbook.com, and I'm also going to be inking the edges of this card or this image as I did with the memory Dex card. And when you ink the edges, I mean, that foam, it goes a long way. It absorbs quite a lot of ink, and you can use it for quite some time. You don't need to be reapplying ink to your foam over and over again. And I want to use that as my centerpiece, and I'm just cutting that down, not measuring at all really, just making sure that I don't cut into the image itself. And I want to keep that sentiment as well. And like I said, I want that to be in the center, and then I ink that up as same as I did for the background. Very simple card, quick and easy. And then I'm figuring I want something in the background. Now I wasn't sure whether I wanted the silver doily or just a regular white doily. I ended up using the white doily. I felt it a bit more, I don't know, warmish, I guess. But I want to add a wee bit of a colour as well. So I am going to be inking on the all edges of the doily using that same orange ink that I used on the memory Dex card. And I'm just applying it here and there, not being too precise, as in having the same amount of ink applied, just making sure that it's a bit lively and colourful. So then I basically want to adhere my background to the card, and I decided to use foam tape. Since this is quite a simple card, I wanted to add a bit of dimension, and that is so easy when you have loads of foam tape lying around, which I do, luckily. And I just stick that to the card front, and then I'm just sticking the doily to the front card, and I'm just using double-sided adhesive to stick that to the background. And when that's done, I am adding foam tape to the Paradise image, and then the card is ready. But of course I want to use a bit of, well, a bit more colour, sparkliness, so I'm using that same glitter sparkle brush to colour the flowers and that large monstera leaf. I just think, because this is such a simple card, a bit of glitter adds quite a lot to it. And when I finished that one, I decided to add a bit of sparkliness to that bird as well, because it is just too cute. And I'm sure that birds don't mind being sparkly and fabulous. And then I wanted to add a bit more colour, so I decided to reach for the pops of colour, same as before. This time I'm using the orange one, the yellow one, and a blue one. And I'm just adding dots here and there. When I'm adding dots, I just squeeze gently, and then when I'm about to pull the bottle away, I swirl it very slowly and then release the pressure at the same time. That way I get them as round as I can get them. And the lovely thing about the pops of colour is they stay that way. They don't squish when you stack your cards or anything like that. But of course, when they are dry. When they are wet, they will go all over the place, so be careful. So those are my two creations, a Dex card and a quick and simple card. And I will have links to everything down below. So thanks so much for watching. See you again later. Bye.